free.
What's that? Okay. Now, something that I've come to realize in my pursuit of education is that there's a big problem in the way that we evaluate one of the important commodities that we have in the world today. But this isn't a commodity of oil or gas that we use to power our cars, or even the commodity of gold and silver that we use to decorate ourselves. And it's not even the commodity of having computers or the internet. The commodity that I'm talking about is our education. And the reason that I say that we have a problem with the way we evaluate our education is because I don't think that open book exam, or the closed book exams accurately reflect our knowledge that we learn in our course. Samuel Johnson basically summarizes what I'm trying to say. He says knowledge is of two types. We either know the subject ourselves, or we know where we can find information upon it. So it's not just what we have up here, but it's all of the resources that we can immediately go to find information. So my topic is going to be open book exams and why you should encourage your instructors to use them, and also, of course, be prepared for them. So just a brief overview of what I'm going to be covering. I'm going to cover a couple of objections to why people think that open book exams should not be used, a couple of benefits of using open book exams, and why it's practical to use open book exams. So starting with the objections that people have, there's the first one that people claim that open book exams take longer to complete. This is true for some people, but just a survey of this class reveals that that's not entirely true. Some people feel that it takes longer to complete open book exams, but the same number of people say that it takes more time to complete closed book exams. And some people say that neither takes longer. So from this we can conclude that open book exams require about the same amount of time as closed book exams. Secondly is the idea that students will study less for open book exams. This is true. Students historically do study less for open book exams, but I feel that the information that they get from studying is actually more productive than the other option, which is to cram. And what I say is they're filling their heads with mud. In other words, they're memorizing the information, utilizing it for the exam, and then they just discard it, throw it away, probably never to be used again. Research shows that open book exams have shown a major increase throughout a semester in the overall performance on tests, especially with those that have weak studying skills. But overall, almost 4.5% increase in grade over the course of a semester, and almost 25% just for those that have weak studying skills. So that kind of moves us into the benefits, one of which is the improved retention of the information that you learn throughout the semester. First off is that there's little or no mud, which is the memorization, utilization, and discarding of the information. Because the information is less complex. You don't have to know specific details, you don't have to know the exact definitions, you just have to know where it is, how to find it, and how to use it. So it's a lot easier to remember that information. Secondly, we're not limited by the credibility of our memory. So, I mean, how many of you have a 100% perfect memory in here? Don't kid yourself. The fact is we don't have 100% perfect memories. And so open book exams allow us to remember where we find the information and use the accurate information from our resources rather than trusting the inaccurate information that may be in our brain. Another benefit is that studying for open book exams helps us develop problem-solving skills. This is done because we need to know how to find information and where to find it. And in order to do that, we have to know where the information is and what we're looking for. as well as how to use it. For example, if you're doing a trigonometry test in math and you're looking for the right formula, well, if you've never seen the formulas, you're not going to know which formula to use or how to use it. But you have the great advantage if you know where it is and how to use it, but you don't remember exactly the formula, you can easily look it up and know the formula exactly. Additionally, there's the critical thinking aspect, the ability to narrow down the information that you're trying to use in order to find the answer you're looking for, because otherwise you just spend lots of time trying to find the answer and you're just wasting time on the exam. And I like this quote by Samuel Johnson: "Men more frequently require to be reminded than informed." And I think that this fits really well because, I mean, how many times do we try to remember a formula and we forget the small details? But it's not that we don't know what we're doing, it's just that we don't remember exactly, or the small intricate details. So that brings us to the practicality of using open book exams. First off is, in my opinion, it promotes a more functional education. The education is more useful to those who study with the open book method, because I think that it falls better into the definition of education provided by dictionary.com. The act or process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally preparing oneself or others intellectually for mature life. Open book exams help us to develop studying skills and to use our resources so that we can have the powers of reasoning and judgment and be able to prepare intellectually for our lives. And another thing too is that I've found as a student is that students have a tendency to adapt to the grading expectations, not to the learning outcomes of the course. So if the grading expectations are regurgitate, then they're going to use the MUD approach. And so which one really fits the criteria of a quality education? Is it using the MUD approach to study for a closed book exam, or applying critical thinking and problem solving skills to study for an open book exam? Another practical consideration for using open book exams is the workforce. In the workforce, we will have resources available to us. And those resources we can often refer to, while we're on the job. And also, if there's information that we don't, that we don't have memorized, we still have the resources available to us. So as we refer to those resources repetitively, the more important items will automatically be memorized by ourselves, pretty much instinctively. But there is the exception. We do still need rote memorization in some cases. For example, with airline pilots or rescue workers. I mean, if your plane's going down, you don't want your pilot taking half an hour sifting through their books. They obviously need to remember what the emergency procedures are. And also, there are some places where the resources may not be available to you in the field. And of course, if you don't have resources available, you need to know the information in your head. So just to review, we've covered two of the objections, which are the time considerations and lack of good studying habits. A couple of the benefits, including the increased retention and problem-solving skills, as well as the practicality of using open book exams, including having a more functional education, as well as developing the skills that we need in the workforce. So, in conclusion, I would ask and urge that all of you support open book exams by encouraging your instructors to use them and by preparing for the exams appropriately by studying, because you do still need to study for open book exams. And there are my resources. And I have a handout for all of you here. It's some tabs that you can stick into your textbooks or into your notes that can help you find the place or mark important information. It might make it easier to find during open book exams. So if you want to